Steve. Good crowd. Good laughs. Steve Fleming, Dr. Steve Fleming, PhD. Just to say, me and Steve have been talking about this speech, and there's no competition between us for a laugh and stuff like that. But we've been talking about this. So normally, Steve, you all had a great time here so far. Steve normally, obviously, would save his best material. I gave him a lot of the gags, and he delivered. But let me just tell you that normally Steve is delivering speeches to big global conferences of neuroscientists, sort of famed cities of culture, not Portofino, more Slough. Not delivered. But Steve and I were very nervous rolling into this particular crowd and audience, so be kind to us. What I would say is that there's many beautiful women here. There's in fact more women here than Steve or I have ever had up the staircase of passion, including me and Dan, obviously up the staircase of passion. That was until the one and the only Emily the Marshnator Marsh rolled in. So more on the lovely Emily later. But just to let you know, so we've known Emily and Dan for 10 years or so. And my name's Jonan, obviously. So Dan's brother from another mother. He is the one who looks like the skinny white kid, but actually taught most of us about things that he called basketball and hip hop. So we've learned a lot from Dan. For example, did you know that if you are defending a three-pointer against the guy who's bigger than you, a bit blacker than you, and you're a skinny white guy, the way to defend a three-pointer is to duck down low as he's shooting up high and thinks you're going for the block, and then tickle him in the balls. That's a Dan Woodward's tip. Or did you know that when you dance to hip hop, the best way to dance to hip hop is to pretend the body is like jelly, nod your head like Biggie, and then whisper to the girls continuously that this Oxford club is chicken shit compared to the Telford and Liverpool ghetto clubs that you're used to. For a few years, correct. Dan, outside of my family, Dan knew more black people than me. And proper, not the sort of skinny mixed race ones. And I'm still grateful Dan took me in. Now, as Steve says, he's had a few phases in his life. I want to talk to you about the sort of after a few years of soul searching, whatever, when the time Dan actually got his life together, or did he? I would also like to quickly tell Emily now that you are, whether you're happy about it or not, one of our best and longest suffering girlfriends in our group. And we're extremely grateful to have you in there. Now, Emily, you might look at Dan and you'll see this sort of slightly chubby, slightly bald guy now, but what I want to do is remind you, Emily, and all of us of the sparks of brilliance that brought us here and allowed Dan to catch the girl of his dreams. So you can divide Dan's life up into many phases, as Steve has told you. There's the I want to be Kevin Little phase versus I want to be Tupac Shakur phase. There's the I'm bald now, but I used to have hair phase. There's the I want to make more money than you and screw the system versus the I still want to make more money than you and screw the system phase. But let me start with the phase that I believe cemented what Dan and Ed felt for each other and the love that continues today. And that's James, New York, you're right. That was a big year, and I think that's the year which, when we were looking from abroad, we knew that the love was for real, as they say. There are 3 words that come to mind thinking about that time for those guys. There's cream cheese, there's Woodrow Wilson, and there's Atlantic City. Now, many of you are wondering, what could possibly link tubes of Philadelphia with the 28th president of the United States and a wannabe Vegas. But obviously the Philadelphia and the Woodrow are to do with role play, and stories aren't suitable for young adults in here. But the Atlantic City phase, let me just expand on what. So these guys were broke, basically, in New York. Emily and Dan are wondering how to make do. They're on the American minimum wage, $2 or whatever. And Dan comes up with an ingenious idea of how he's gonna double their money. So he takes their $7.50 that they just earned that last week, and he buys a ticket on the Greyhound bus heading straight to Atlantic City. Sees the bright lights, sees the casinos, comes back, doubles his money, splashes his $15 winnings all over the room, not in a weird way, but all over the room. And I think when Dan managed to convince Emily that he would then be able to replicate that the next weekend and the weekend and the weekend after, I think that's when she really knew she had a keeper. So it's going well so far. Okay, there's only one page and a bit left. So, okay, back from New York. Okay, so they've fallen in love, they made money. Dan comes back and spends a year or so, screwing the system, making money at RBS, one of the UK's, respectable financial institutions. But after a year or so, he gets tired of it. Feels like he wants to get out of that dirty business of banking. Wants to, better himself and feel like he's doing good for the world. So he promptly joins a Geneva-based oil trading company. Fully regulated and with a strong social impact mission. So much better than Glencore. Now, it was between those 2 jobs, actually, where real life, I think, started a bit for Dan and Ems. And perhaps not everyone knows this, but Dan then spent a year of his sort of formative, one of his formative years as a refugee in Welwyn Garden City with Emily and Emily's mother. And to quote Princess Diana, there became 3 of them in that marriage. Indeed, I think the bonds formed between Dan and the lovely Sarah Marsh have as much or more to do with us being here today than that moment when Dan finally put a ring on Emily's finger. And I hear you ladies, 10 years is too long to wait. So, he's fed and clothed by the lovely Marshes. In return, obviously, Dan decides he will contribute as much as he can, so starts a few business ventures from the upstairs attic room. Now, between meals and the love showered on him, he obviously has to make a few business trips outside of Welwyn to meet some high net worth individuals. He once apparently left Welwyn on the National Rail to Euston, London Euston, and joined me, Steve, Brett and Ed for a pint. He also once left to drive to his heartland in Telford And obviously, John and Leslie were extremely grateful to receive him and feed him, hear about his new exciting business ventures, and then see him cruise back down the M1. Then they knew he would be fed for at least a few more weeks in Welling. He also flew to China with his potentially more successful brother Nick, who is a double Olympian, in case you didn't realise. And Tom, you're not bad either, you know that. So they go to China and they set up this, a trading company in China because emerging markets, growth going on. Him and Nick are going to outsource production to China and bring shirts back over here and sell them for millions, literally millions in London. They've got a few other business dealings with other people. Now I don't know if any of you know of a little company called Uber China. Yeah, Uber China, which is doing extremely well. Well, that has absolutely nothing to do with Dan Woodbridge. And now let me tell you why I love Dan Woodbridge. So he also actually joined a startup with my cousin, Irem Boto, a Silicon Valley startup called eGraphs. So Dan has a Skype interview with Irem and the other guys, and they love him because he's on it and he's entrepreneurial. I have a interview with them because I want to get involved as well, and they give me feedback, and it's like, be a bit more like Dan. And Dan's like, don't worry mate, you can be, just work hard. But that was perhaps the start of my realisation. I think it goes for a few of us, for me, Steve, Brett, and we're not the only friends with Dan, he's got other friends as well. But we realise we can learn a lot from the man, as well as the hip hop, as well as the basketball. So, the most obvious example of this is a trip we had to Uganda, which is where my dad's from, and we went there, a few of us, and I'd been planning this trip for months, and the highlight was going to be in the sort of southwest of the country, near Rwanda. We're going to trek with the gorillas, it's going to be amazing. So we turned up, and I'd done all this great planning, and Ems was really impressed with my organisation, it was awesome, and arrived, and clearly I hadn't quite booked the accommodation in the village where we were staying in Kisoro, but we managed to work it out. That was fine. And then I called my contact to get the gorilla permit, which was going to cost $500. And they were like, Jonan, you needed to have booked these 9 months in advance. So I'm questioning myself at this point. We go to bed, and I decide I'm going to get up really early and nail it in the morning because I don't want to let down my friends, and it's going to be awkward. So I sort of go to sleep thinking about, how am I going to sort this out? You obviously lie in, wake up at 10:30, call around panically as many Ugandan contacts as I can find before Facebook, and I finally get through to Dan Woodbridge and wonder where he is. And Dan's been up at 7 in the morning or 6 in the morning, and he's gone around the town of Kisoro, and he's managed to source us 4 permits to go trek with the gorillas. Absolutely. Okay. So Dan is a man of action and has always been a man of action. So Dan was ready to invest in Rwanda and Uganda 5 years ago, and I was too scared. I had some cash to do it, and I was too scared. Now I'm less scared, and I have no cash to do it. Dan was ready to build student poker stars from our 4th year bedroom before the damn EU got in the way with its damn regulation on gambling. Hooray Brexit, or not. Or a political joke, which is not allowed. Dan even dragged a few of us up to Manchester to get some sort of Manchester uni fellas to develop an app, an iPhone app, which is still unavailable on the iPhone App Store. If only we'd gone for the Android version. So you get the picture. Dan is a man who challenges what other people take for granted, and he's a man who makes you do new things, new stuff, and just enjoy a bit of life. We've always said that Dan will either end up a millionaire or in jail, or ideally both, because then he will be able to write the autobiography he's been planning for 20 years. And Hamish, you got the 10% deal. I've been told if I write a draft of him and send it to him the next month for review, he will give me 1.5% of any future profits. But stop here, and let me tell you why Dan and Emily are people that we'll always return to and will always have a lot of love for. That's whether it's in Welland, which I visited once, or in Telford, which I've visited once, or in Geneva and their balcony pad and lavish surroundings, which I've visited a number of times. They are as loyal a couple as you'll find, both to each other, but also as a man and a woman to their friends. And in fact, they've got a lot of love for their friends, but for their family, and together they have real strength and real vision and desire for adventure. Personally, for me, Dan has always been there through the thick, through the thin. The thick being the waft of smell from the basketball clothes, and the thin being when I had girl trouble, job trouble, or life trouble. And I will always appreciate that from you, bud. I can also tell you to their family that even though they're off to another country, they really feel a lot for you both. And I've had the pleasure to meet quite a lot of the Marshes and the Woodbridges, and they've got real love for you. And seeing how they care about you, I think makes us all think we need to step up our game to be part of the team for our own families. John Woodbridge, when you get the pad in France, even if Dan Woodbridge and Emily Marsh are not here, you'll have four boys who will come and join you and bring a bottle of wine and cheese and the rest of and the whole all of us, everyone here. We're all coming. So look, Dan's a great man. I've got to mention my girlfriend Tristan, who tells me, even though having just met him a couple of years ago, he's the one of my friends she trusts the most. One old yes. But I think that tells you a bit how Dan brings new people in and welcomes them. Wherever you guys end up, we'll want to be there with you. And so I just ask us all to stand up and raise a glass to Dan and Emily and being on the third of the day. Dan and Emily.